Hi guys, this is Navin from Singapore Commercial Space. We specialize in the commercial segment in Singapore and we have been doing this for last 8 years. Today in this video, we would be explaining the concept of asset hedge and we are joined by Eliza. She actually used this model in 2018 December and bought something using the concept. We will be explaining you the numbers and how you can use the model in your investment journey. Before I explain you the concept of asset hedge, let me bring you to the stamp duty regime in Singapore. So if you are a Singaporean buying your first residential property, your stamp duty is 3%. I'm talking about properties around $1 million. If you are a PR, the stamp duty is 8%, that is 3% plus 5% of additional stamp duty. But if you are a foreigner, your stamp duty is 3%, but your additional stamp duty is 20%. So we are talking about 23% for a foreigner, 8% for a PR, and 3% for a Singaporean for their first property. If a foreigner wants to invest in $1 million residential property in Singapore, they have to come out with 25% down payment in cash, as well as that 23% of stamp duty. So 25 plus 23, it means 48% cash. Now, as you know, the foreigners don't even have a CPF account. So that means to buy $1 million property, they need approximately $480,000 Singapore dollars. With this kind of money, a lot of people can buy assets across the world and they can leverage much more. So that's why it becomes very difficult for a foreigner, especially for people in the age group of 25 to 32, 33, where they have just started their careers and they don't have that much money for the down payment. So how do they invest? How do they become part of the Singapore investment scene? So that's why I have to find something where I can reduce the down payment and they can still own an asset in Singapore. So let me explain you the concept of asset hedge. Assume you bought $1 million place in International Plaza, an office space. Hypothetical example, you would be able to get a loan between 70 to 80%. Let's assume average 75%. You will be able to get a loan of $750,000, which is your loan amount. Your total cash upfront, the down payment from your side, will be equity, that is $250,000. Your stamp duty for $1 million property is approximately $24,600, that is 3% minus $5,400, which means your total equity invested for buying a $1 million property is $250,000 for your down payment, 25%, and the stamp duty, which is $24,600. So let's make a roundabout figure. It is $275,000 on a roundabout figure. So within this $275,000, you can buy $1 million commercial asset. But if you want to buy that same $1 million commercial asset as a foreigner in Singapore, you are investing approximately $480,000 cash. Now, if you look at the difference of this two, it's approximately $205,000. Now, this money, the reason why I'm calculating this money is nothing else but it's the cost of acquisition. Your residential asset has to appreciate 20% more just to break even compared to your commercial asset. Now, if you look at pure numbers, $205,000 is exactly, which I'm using the last example, $40,000 rental is approximately 5 years of rental, and that is only gross rental. So how can you solve the situation? You buy an office space, you buy an industrial space, you buy $1 million unit, you use your $275,000 as down payment, buy the asset, rent that asset house, collect that rental from the asset, and then rent the residential property you wanted to buy. So you are doing nothing. You're basically collecting rent from your investment and paying towards your residential property. You're living in the same house you wanted to live, but the saving of the cost of acquisition of $205,000 is actually good enough for a 5 years rental. So that means your residential, if you live in this residential apartment for 5 years, you have literally lived free because you have saved on your stamp duty. So a lot of foreigners, right, I know everybody wants to buy a home. Home is a different thing. And I agree. I completely agree to the fact. But there are a lot of youngsters between the age of 25 to 32 who may not have that kind of down payment cash with them. They can use this model and invest in Singapore by using a lower amount of down payment and invest in a commercial asset. Then build up your nest, build up your money. When you have more savings, then you can go for your residential asset. Let me summarize the asset hedge concept to you. It saves on your cost of acquisition. You actually save on your stamp duties. This is great for foreigners. If you have limited down payment, if you don't have that higher cash flow with you, you can use this asset hedge model to actually earn the same kind of a yield. This model works for people where you want to own a residential asset but you don't have down payment. So what you do, you limited cash, you buy an industrial or a commercial asset, collect the rent from that asset, and then rent the unit you wanted to live in. Simple, very easy. Use it because you want to save on your cost of acquisition. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you learned something on this asset hedge concept. I hope you can use it in your own investment journey and make it worthwhile. This is Navin from Singapore Commercial Space. See you in my next video.